Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Dave and today I'm going to explain all about basic options, buying and selling, puts and calls. I'll also talk about my preferred strategy for trading options, so stay tuned. Whoop. So this channel is all about wealth creation, and yes, I invest heavily in the stock market and with a buy and hold long-term strategy. However, I also look for alternative ways to invest my income, and one unique way that you can do it is through options trading. I have an options trading account that's completely separate from everything else, and it provides a separate stream of income, in my opinion. So I like that. That's always a great thing. So here's some option basics that you really need to understand. So just like a stock, it takes buyers and sellers to create the options market. And the best way to do this is to walk through an example of each. So the first one I want to cover is buying a call. When you buy a call, you have to pay a fee or commission or premium to the person creating the contract. That person's going to take that money and they're going to walk away. That's theirs to own, right? They created the contract. You pay that premium, but you're only out that premium. It's a small amount. So let's say it's $110 just for an example. Pay your $110 and you get one contract, which equals 100 shares of the underlying stock, right? So imagine a stock that's trading for $100 and you buy a call. You pay your 110 bucks and then you have a control of 100 shares. Let's say it's trading at $100 and you're betting it's going to go up to $105, which is the strike price, at an expiration date of 3 weeks from now. All right, so that's your call. So over those 3 weeks, that option value is going to move around as the stock moves around. It's going to kind of follow that. But as you get closer to the expiration date, you know, if it's underneath that value, underneath that strike price of $105, it will eventually just expire and your $110 is gone and you walk away with nothing. But if it expires above that strike price, let's say it expires at $108, then you get to buy it at $105 and sell it at $108. That means you made $300 on that transaction minus your $110. So you made $190. You did a great job, right? To make almost double your money, triple your money after 3 weeks, you're doing awesome. But the part there is you got to be able to predict that this stock is going up, and that's the real hard part. But that's why people love to buy a call, because kind of like at the casino, when you put that money in a slot machine, you can hit, right, 20 to 1. And that can happen with when you buy a call. If it goes up to 115, then your 115 minus your 105, you made $1,000 minus the premium you paid. So that's why people love to buy a call and buy options. So that's the first one. So the other type of option you can buy is you can buy a put. And buying a put is the exact opposite. You buy a put, you're betting that your stock is going to go down to a certain strike price by a certain date. So let's take that same example. You have a stock, it's trading at $100 a share. You bet it's going to go down to $95 a share 3 weeks from now on that expiration date. So if that stock goes down to 97, you paid your commission, right, of $110 still. You make nothing, you walk away, you've lost your $110. But if it goes down to $90 a share, then you get to take your $95 strike price minus the $90, that means you made $5 per contract. 100 shares times 5, so you made $500 minus your commission. And that's how selling a put works. So now let's talk about those people creating the contracts, the people that are selling the puts and calls. So let's start with the puts, right? So if you're a seller of puts, you are creating a contract for someone else to come and buy, right? And your position in this is if the stock, let's again, same example, $100 a share, you have the stock, you say, if it goes to $95, I will buy that stock off of you. But in order for me to agree to this, you have to pay me that premium. Give me that $110. So as soon as you sign this contract, I get my $110 and I can go buy my sushi dinner. On the other hand, if the stock goes and plummets down to $90, you got to buy it at $90. Or I'm sorry, you got to buy it at $95, but it's really at $90. So you're down, you're out of the money right now, right? But you got the premium, $100, but now you're down $500. Now, if it just expires, let's say the stock drops a little bit, goes to $97, it just expires, disappears, you walk away, you get your sushi dinner, and you're happy. You live to buy again. Now, the one thing I should mention is in order to do this whole trade, you need to have collateral, right? So in this case, $100 stock times one contract, 100 shares, You need to have $10,000 of collateral set aside in case you have to purchase the stock. Very important to know that. All right, so home stretch, last one, selling a call. Now, when you sell a call, right, you're giving someone the option to buy that stock from you if it expires above the strike price by this expiration date. So let's use our example again here. So it's trading at 100, and you say, I'm going to show you a contract, pay me my premium of $110. If it goes above 105, then you can buy it from me at that price at 105, as long as it does it by this date. So let's say your stock's trading at 100 and it goes up to 104, expiration date approaches, it's going to expire, you're going to walk away with your premium, no problem, thank you for the free money. But now if it goes above 105, let's say it goes all the way up to 120, guess what? You got to sell it to them at 105, right? So you lost all that extra money that you could have made by just holding the stock. Okay, one thing worth mentioning now that we've covered all this is that options expire on a certain date, but until they expire, their value floats around, and you don't have to be stuck in a position. You don't have to hold it to expiration. You can buy today and you can sell tomorrow if you make the money that you like and get out of it. Or if you start to lose a little money and you get scared, you can jump out of it and you don't have to worry about it. So oftentimes they are never held to expiration. Eventually they expire with zero intrinsic value, but until then, trade them away. Okay, so how do I like to trade options? Well, I'll tell you, I'm a very poor predictor of the stock market. In the short term, I don't know if it's going to go up, down, or sideways over the next 1, 2, 3, or 4 weeks. In the long term, I believe it will go up. Short term, I don't know. We have a lot of crazy things that happen in the stock market. People come out with really positive news, then somebody attacks the Capitol, and then the pandemic occurs. So I just don't know. So for that reason, because I don't really know, I like to stick to selling options. It doesn't mean that call options that you're buying aren't a great way to go, but for me, I like collecting that premium. So I stick to selling options primarily. So here's my analogy, and tell me if it makes sense, right? So imagine yourself as an insurance agent, and you're selling real estate insurance, right? And you're walking through a neighborhood, and you're deciding, like, where should I sell my insurance? That's your first big decision. And you look over to the neighborhood to your left, and you see this dilapidated houses and cars up on blocks in the front yard, and they have a sign there that says AMC, and they have a sign up there that says, hey, come here, we got GameStop, you know, that kind of stuff. That's the neighborhood. You don't want to go there, right? That's not where I want to trade options. I look over there, I see the guard gated community. It looks beautiful, manicured lawns and everything else. Mr. Apple lives up on the hill next to Mr. Microsoft. That's where I want to play. This is really important because as a put seller, you know, I get to shop where I want to shop. I get to sell on the stocks that I want to sell that I think are maybe a little undervalued right now, but are still great stocks that I would want to own in the future. So that's the first thing that I look for, is I look for great stocks when I look to sell puts and calls. So you've picked your neighborhood now, and you walk up to the first house. You walk to Mr. Apple's house, right? You knock on the door and say, hey, Mr. Apple, I've got a great deal for you. You have a beautiful house here. I think you've done a great thing here, and I'd like to offer you some insurance, right? You know, if your house drops in value 8% in 3 weeks from now, I want to buy it from you, okay? And all you have to do for that is you have to pay me $100. So that's my premium. I get to stick that in my pocket. I get to go have a nice sushi dinner, and I'll be back in 3 weeks, and we'll see what happens. All right. So at this point, basically 4 things can happen, right, over those 3 weeks. 1, the stock goes up. Apple stock climbs and climbs and climbs. Guess what? You walk away. You collect your premium like nothing ever happened. Or the stock could go sideways for the next 3 weeks. Guess what? You collect your premium and you walk away. So this is like feeling pretty good. You're already 2 for 2. 3, the stock could go down. And let's say the strike price was 7% below where when you entered the contract. So it goes down 7% or 6%, right, over those next 3 weeks. Guess what? You collect your premium and you walk away. And you can actually do it again now that the stock's lower and repeat the whole process. And number 4, probably the only one that you really have to worry about is when it drops more than 7%. Maybe it goes down 10 or 12%. Well, in this case, guess what? You're getting put the stock. And when that stock gets put to you, you have to have collateral there to cover that contract. And don't forget that one contract equals 100 shares. So you can have so this isn't inexpensive, right? There is a barrier for entry into selling options like this. So we'll get into those numbers here a little bit more too, but that's the analogy. So, if for 3 weeks later his house value goes down 12%, you walk up and you buy a stock that you really like Apple, you're not that put off, right? And you're kind of like, I just bought Apple at an 8% discount or 7% discount. This is great because I'm going to turn around and I can have a choice now. I can either keep that stock or I can sell the call back, right? And I can go back to Mr. Apple's house and say, you know what? I feel bad about taking your house, your 100 shares, and I'm willing to sell it back to you if it goes up 5% this week, as long as you pay me another premium. So that's the strategy that I use, and we'll walk through this a little bit more, but just think about how that could fit in with what you do. Okay, so a few final thoughts on these trading options, right? Especially when it comes to selling puts, like the example that I just gave. So, if you just got a bunch of money and it's sitting there on the sidelines and you see the market and you're like, wow, this thing's overcooked, it's way overvalued, I don't want to just go buy this stock because, what am I going to do? I know as soon as I buy it, it's going to go down. Well, that's when selling a put is a great option because now you can offer to buy, let's say it's Apple stock again, right? You want to buy that Apple stock, but it's trading at 130, you're only willing to spend $120 a share. Go sell a put. Sell a put that if it does fall below 120, that you'll buy it. But at least this way, you're putting your money to work and you're collecting those premiums. So that's one thought when you do get that money. If you ever have a big chunk of money, you get into the market. The other thing is with lots of premiums comes lots of taxes. So we haven't really talked about that, but every time you collect a premium, that's a short-term capital gain and they add up and they add up quick. So as you do these and you start collecting lots of premiums, don't forget Taxman's coming. You're going to owe him some taxes. So keep both those things in mind. All right. Last thing on this would be, what do you do with those premiums? So let's say you collect $1,000 in premiums this month. What do you do with it? Well, again, we're all about wealth creation here. Why not buy the stocks that you like? Continue to build that wealth. Use this as a way to feed your retirement, to feed those accounts. Keep growing your wealth. So, sound good? Stick to it. So the question always comes up, how much money can you make doing this strategy of selling these puts? Well, I can tell you from 2020, I made probably about 600 or 700 trades like this, and premiums can be, all over the place depending on how risky the stock is. So to say, can you make 30%? Yes, but you have to take on a lot more risk. And I'm not taking a lot of risk. So I usually target those premiums that give an annual return, if you annualized it, to about 10 to 20% in that ballpark. And don't forget, you have to pay taxes on this, so that will reduce that amount. But for the year, I did quite well, even during the pandemic, so it can be a great way to grow your wealth. And like I said, it's separated enough from the stock market that in a week when you have a big loss in the stock market, man, I lost $40,000 this week in the stock market, you could look at your options account and find that, wow, I didn't lose anything in the stock market. I actually gained $3,000 in premium this week. So that's a great feeling because they're separated enough that it can give you that alternative source. And that's what I keep coming back to, and I think it's so valuable about trading options like this. So I have an example of this that I just did on E-Trade, selling a put. Go out, watch that, and that can kind of show you where it is. I'll link it below or to the side or the top, and watch that. And that's how an example of what I would have done. That just shows you maybe the mechanics of how you might walk through this kind of trade if you're curious. All right, so if you found any of this beneficial, please comment below, ask questions, like and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Thanks so much for listening. Bye-bye. Whoop.